are so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Friday for all you folks listening on the main feed, and Thursday for everybody on Patreon. If you'd like to listen a day early, not always. Try to get it out a day early for the Patreon crew, but it's ad-free and it's a little longer, and most of the time the Patreon exclusive segment's got some cool shit that you don't want to miss. So if you want to be involved in that, there's also a couple different perks. If you sign up, you get entered into a drawing that I do every month, giveaway. It's always something cool, cowboy related. This month we've got a custom-made money clip from Tracy Morrison out of Oklahoma. And I think also Matt Wilson's going to make me something too to sling out there for you guys. And anyhow, head over to patreon.com/burningdaylight if you'd like to sign up. This episode is really, really cool. A fella named Jim Irwin also goes by the Kraken. He was a former Delta Force sniper, as well as an Army Ranger. Spent a long time in the military, and unfortunately for him, or fortunately, however you look at it, probably for his wife, he'd say fortunately, he retired about 9 months before 9/11, and the GWAT kicked off. So either way, Jim is a great guy. He does some training in firearms, just long range shooting, pistol shooting. Just he's all around good guy. He's a gun guy. He's a patriot, and just a hell of a good guy to talk to. We sat down on his porch and shot the shit for about 2 hours, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope he did too. And I know you guys will. So without any further ado, let's get into this damn thing with Jim the Kraken Irwin.
Burning daylight, burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Burning daylight.
All right, folks. Over here in lovely Gardnerville, Nevada. It's a nice place you got here, Jim. I'm here with a fella named Jim the Kraken. Is that what your call sign or just a nickname?
That's a nickname. Call sign was a little something different overseas.
Yeah.
But Kraken became a nickname once I got back and was doing some riding with a motorcycle organization, and was one of the young guys and doing a ride one day, and they're like, if we catch you messing up, and the old timers looked over at me and like, we'll release the Kraken. I don't know if it was because I'm super huggy, like I just like to hold on a little long.
Yeah.
or if once I get a hold of you, it's kind of that's it. It's the end of the game.
So like, are you in? Do you roll jiu-jitsu and whatnot, or?
I did long time ago, and then when I started getting my butt kicked by the guys I was wrestling, I was like, I'm just going to get a gun, and I'm going to be good with that gun.
There you go. Well, I think that's always a good idea. You'll have to let me know some good BJJ guys in the area.
I actually just stopped into DC Jiu-Jitsu, Douglas County Jiu-Jitsu here in town this evening right before you came over, and I hear a lot of good things about those guys. And,
I want to get my kids started early.
The prices ain't bad there. So.
Nice. I'm kind of an old fuck now, but it's not too late to start. So I'm gonna gonna learn with them, I think.
It's never too late to choke a fool out.
That's
or
right.
Maybe get choked out.
That's right. And I mean, if push comes to shove, you've got a gun, I've got a rope. Like we can probably handle it. And then I'm smart enough to know when I'm about to get my ass whooped, so I'm gonna. Yeah, in that the military, you find the best tactical advantage, right?
Yeah, and sometimes that's de-escalating the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's either violence of action or de-escalate,
go
right?
all in or de-escalate as best as possible. And I spent a lot of time in the protection arena, and it was all about de-escalating. Right? If you had to go to guns or hands, every other asset or avenue was exhausted.
Yeah, that's Yeah, I think I always wonder, like, we'll get into this later, but I've got a thought I'll run by you, and I've never run it by any other military guys, but we'll get into it later when it comes, because we get in a little bit of politics, and I don't want you getting into trouble, but like, you've got a military law enforcement background, so we can. There's plenty of shit to talk about over the last year without getting us into too much.
How am I going to get in trouble with the shit that's going on these days?
Yeah, exactly. It's wild. But so
I identify as male. We'll start there.
There we go. If that's what the situation calls for, that's what I'm going to identify. Whatever. I'll identify with whatever if it gets me out of a weird situation. But so Jim Irwin's your name. You're former Ranger, former Delta Force guy, and now you're an entrepreneur, I guess.
I guess you could say that. I started my own shooting training company called Shooting Performance Institute, probably about 7 years ago. It wasn't named that until recently. It was just training.
Yeah.
Decided to put both feet in the water and actually make a business, get licensed, and pay my taxes, be
lame,
legit, right? And landed a few pretty good sponsors. And with that, actually got asked to come full time with Staccato Firearms. So part of that, the caveat to that, me going full time was that I was still able to do the training. That I've been working so hard on developing. So it's full time all the time. Yeah, so whether it's selling guns or teach people how to shoot from a yard to a mile. So
you're just all guns all the time.
Pretty much.
That's awesome. I mean,
it's like, what'd you do on your day off? We went and shot.
That's funny. And I've talked to like a guy that you're not quite as familiar with, but a friend of yours, Clay Martin, who I met through Thomas Gomez of High Desert Rifle Works, which I guess they do a lot of work here out of Carson. And yeah, it's just I keep telling him, I was like, I like guns, but I'm not a gun guy. Like I like them. I grew up around them. I think I thought I was fairly proficient until I started reading some guys that actually shoot for a living, or you're like, no. And so I was like, at best I'm a hobbyist. Like I'm a little better with a shotgun, but a rifle, I'm at best a hobbyist.
It's amazing. The depth and scope, the breadth and width, if you like, to become a very proficient shooter and wanting to create a very tight group or an accurate, group. Accuracy is it's what it's all about, right? And then being able to repeat that process.
Unless you're Soviet soldier, then Stalin
That's called
said,
a beaten zone.
Yeah,
just shoot in that direction. A lot of bullets.
Stalin said, "Quantity is a quality of all of its own."
True. But I've been looking to try to repeat that process. Well, what goes into that? Right?
Yeah.
So starting to break down where we can minimize variables in our shooting, create consistencies or constants.
Yeah.
And that's a deep rabbit hole. I do get it. So when I first start my classes in long range precision, I talk about how we manage expectations, not only ourselves, but of our equipment too.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else is really doing that. And it's not that it's a trick or anything, but I want to set the table, right? If you bring your dad's 243, 30-06 or something, that's a badass weapon, kill a lot of animals. You're not banging steel to ground with it.
Yeah.
First round hit probability is way down.
Yeah.
So, but I want to manage that, and set the table so you can understand how we manage our expectations of our equipment and ourselves, especially when it comes to hunting. Like 200-yard shot with 30-06, not a bad shot. It's going to dump that animal. you're not going 600.
No.
So, to know that, right? And then manage your expectations. Got to crawl a little closer. You run a 6.5 PRC, 3.3 Lapua, somebody's, even a 6.5 Creed.
Yeah.
800 to 1,000 yards is not unreasonable and still carrying enough kinetic energy transfer to drop that animal ethically. So, and where do we find those variables and how do we minimize them? And I spent a lot of time on that. And I think people enjoy that because now they know where they can focus attention, energy, and money, right? Instead of just, I got to go buy a $10,000 gun. You don't actually have to, right? Yeah. Let me show you how we can work with that.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, like how much the technology has increased over the years. So I was when I was talking with Clay, of course he went to sniper school, same as you, and so you guys learned from when did you get in, by the way?
I went in 1989.
1989. All right, so you're a little bit older than Clay. You're a little bit older than the rest of us, but it's all right. I'm sure you can.
I still carry a rucksack, maybe just to the mailbox and back. But
well, I ran 2.5 miles last night, and I thought my knee was going to blow out. So, but I'm also a cowboy for a living, so that's it. But it's funny, you're talking about the granddad's old 243 or 30-06 versus a Tika or an Abrams or whatever.
Some of the more modern guns we have out here.
Well, it reminds me a lot when I was growing up. I rode a lot of Colts against my will mostly, but when you're a dad, you're a tyrant. So my dad was a tyrant, and we were riding Colts, whether I wanted to or not, and. The first time I got on a real finished ranch horse that went where I wanted to go.
Kind of knew what to do already.
Yeah. It was this is why I'm riding these young pukes to make them into this. And, it's
dad's riding that.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just a switch in your head and you're just that's got to be what it is. When you're getting, just your basic standard issue Army, rifle. Versus you got something dialed in.
Handmade or a very high quality gun.
Yeah,
and to your point, I got a great example for that. I took my wife and I took out a friend of ours' kid, had a youth hunt, right, and got dad's. I think it was a 243. I don't remember exactly. No butt pad on it, metal, or this plastic stock on the end, right? I took him out. First of all, okay, before we go hunting, I need to see how this gun's shooting, right? So I want to watch you shoot. So just make sure it's zeroed. I'm not going to just throw you into the fray. Yeah. And okay, so we zeroed 100. He's doing all right. And about 7 rounds in, he starts to create that flinch response, right? He's expecting that hit because he's not holding the gun correctly. Yep. So I start correcting that. And then, at 200 yards, the group's it's not good.
Yeah.
Right? It's not good. So I already know in the back of my head, okay, 200 and in is basically, now I'm managing expectations for him. Hey, we got to be 200 in. Well, I think I can shoot further. Nope. No,
you can't. No, we're not. Paper shows otherwise.
So I end up having to go out of town, and Annalise, my wife, takes him out for a weekend, right? And they had about a 400-yard shot. And he's like, Jim said, I can't shoot this far. With this gun, and this guy's dad is now with him. And he's like, that's not hunting. That's not hunting. You got to get closer. Well, it can't get closer. Can't get closer. Buck leaves. Anyway, I get back in town. This next day, right, before I get back in town, Annalise comes back to the house, calls me, says, that was some bull, right? He could have made that shot if he had one of our guns. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So she takes him out the next day before I get home. They go to the range, gets him on one of our guns. It was a 6.5 PRC. Very smooth shooting gun. I mean, it's a 1,200-yard gun. Easy. 50. It's a mile gun. I mean, it'll push a mile, right? And anyway, long story short, it's got the pad on it. They go to the range, they shoot it, and he's just tack driving with this thing. Got rid of the flinch response because the kick's not there. It's got a pad. Everything's right. We get back. I get back. Then we go out again. It was about a 3-week process to get him his deer. Just find the right location, find the deer that is worthy of shooting, and creating the shot opportunity. Yeah. So he gets a shot opportunity. We find this kind of atypical buck, and it's 470 through the heart, first round hit.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, that thing just went up and over and done.
It's amazing that flinch response. So, like, because my first gun was a Mossberg 500A. You know, just good old pump action shotgun. It's good for whatever whatever bird you want to shoot. But after a while, you're gonna feel it. I mean, it's not a like it don't kick like a mule, but
you get some kick to it.
It'll get to you after a while. And then after a while, upgraded the Benelli Nova, and holy shit, the difference just between those two. And they're both just pump action 12 gauges, but I mean, you can shoot
quality of the build, and how it manages it, the engineering, I guess you could say, you know, the build, and how that manages recoil, right? That recoil impulse. That's be set through pistols, shotguns, rifles.
Why is it Benelli only figured out the shotgun? Or I mean, Italy only figured out the shotgun.
I was say Italy, because I did some time up in Oregon where we did this big shoot, and bunch of shotgun manufacturers come out, right? We called it it was called a cast and blast. A really cool thing. A bunch of veterans go out, and in the morning we're fishing for sturgeon. Yeah. Only got on the boat at 10, never catch a damn sturgeon.
Yeah.
I suck at fishing.
I'm not good either.
And then in the afternoon we went out and shot shotguns, and so like all these manufacturers, I'd say there's probably half a dozen manufacturers out there, but Benelli and Beretta were the ones I was focused on, because, you know, Benelli has a great name. Yeah. I'm not much of a shotgun guy, but I hold my own. Yeah. We use shotguns to blow holes through doors and get in. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to be real accurate for that.
So I went through, I'd say, a box or two of shells through the Benelli with that inertia recoil system, and then grabbed a Beretta, I think the 1301, or like they're kind of their competition one, right? I went through probably 7-8 boxes of shells on that thing. I bought a Beretta. The recoil management on the thing, I think I ran like sub 3 seconds, 6 rounds through that shotgun.
No shit.
I was just like, wow,
that's awesome.
I want this
one. No shit. Yeah. So that's my next one, I guess.
So like when you like talk about going from like that Mossberg to so the quality of the build, and then just the attention to detail and the engineering and how they manage that. Pays out huge dividends on the other end. You can run that Mossberg. But you're going to be in the game as long as you would with something else of a finer quality or more attention to detail in the build.
It's the same thing going from like a prison Mustang to a highbrow cat Colt. It's the same type of deal. You're going to pay money for that highbrow cat, but it's never guaranteed. But every gun's never guaranteed either.
I work for a pistol manufacturer. We say we build the world's best shooting handguns. They also come with a lifetime warranty, because every once in a while you get that one that just needs a little tweaking.
Oh yeah. Well, and there's just always some that are lemons. For whatever reason, they're lemons.
Cars, trucks,
and horses same way. I always bring up Paris Hilton as an example. Like, she had no reason to do a sex tape, giving her lineage. Like, she came from very, very successful people. I mean, I guess she was successful at what she did, but they're known for building hotel...
Failed on the tape, I guess.
Yeah. They're known for building hotel empires, and she's known for a sex tape and being dumb. And
you're all right.
But, yeah, it's like, if you're paying the money for a highbrow cat Colt, you're probably going to have a better chance of making a really badass horse than you would if you go to Carson and get a Mustang.
Higher probability of first round hit, right?
Exactly.
And we do the same thing with long guns, right? You're increasing your probability of first round hit. That's the game. Right?
See, so I've been trying to do some outreach to the military community, in particular, like the special operations guys, because I talked to Evan Hafer here a while back. That dude's a beast. He's a beast.
Done some good things.
That whole crew over there at Black Rifle have done some really cool stuff. But Clay Martin, I was telling him, and I told him I have to do a huge caveat, but I said there's a lot of similarities between like the cowboy world and the military world. The huge caveat being is like the cows aren't shooting back at the cowboys. So
I still don't want to get kicked in the face by one.
That's true. But it's not.
Haven't tried to blow you off your horse.
Yeah, it's not quite as dangerous as clearing a building or something. Yeah, but it's still pretty pretty dangerous.
Got some crazy shit you guys do though.
Yeah,
I got an idea. Let's drink some beer and get on this bull.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw that.
Exactly. See, and so this is why I keep thinking that, you know, the military community, cowboy community, like they're kind of one and the same. They're different, but they're one and the same. And because there's when you ride out every morning, like you got to know that like there might be some shit that goes down that day, and you got to be able to know, like, if my horse is on top of me, I got to count on this guy to be able to get him off or whatever. Yeah, and it's the same type of deal. So like even if you don't, like, because a lot of the military guys that I've talked to, not real big fans of why we're in Iraq and Afghanistan, but you're still there.
You're there, yeah,
and you're property of the U.S.
You're going to do your work.
Yeah, you're property of the U.S. government, so you're there. So you're not fighting for the government or whatever. You're fighting for these guys here.
Brother next to you, yeah.
Because that's who's getting you home. Yeah.
But, you know, if you look at that, it's the word I'm looking for. Sometimes I search for that word, or the similarities, or at its root, its base, cowboying. You know, you have to be good at your craft, or you're not a good cowboy. You're not going to get hired.
Exactly right.
Which means you need to perfect your craft, your skill set. You need to, you know, train, educate yourself on your not only yourself but your ropes, your horses, your saddles. Like it's the same thing we do with our kit, right?
Yeah,
and some of us take it a little further than others. Like not every Army dude is a fan of that, right? I'm here, I'm going to do my 4 years and I'm out, right?
Yeah.
Got my GI Bill, popping smoke. Where I took every opportunity to challenge myself in the military. I always wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody said, you can't do that. Oh, watch me, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't for anybody else.
You don't do it in front of them. Yeah, you just come back like 6 months later and you're like, oh, by the way, I did that.
Yeah, I made it.
Yeah.
I was pretty young when I made the unit. You know, I was 25.
Yeah.
That was, I won't say it was unheard of, but it was rare that a guy my age. I had the proper mindset. I was willing to just push myself to the limits, because that's just who I am. And I think that's kind of where you guys are too. I say you guys, you know, with the high end cowboys, not the weekend dudes that are, like, you make a living in a saddle, like you're perfecting your craft because you want longevity and you want to make you want to make any of those oh shit moments as least catastrophic as possible, right? I want to be able to get out of this without as much as little damage as possible on a horse or in a shoot house, right?
More similarities. The pay is shit on both ends.
Yep.
The pay sucks.
I quadrupled my pay a month after I got out of the Army.
I'm working on a way to where I can like make exponentially more money just doing this shit, so I can lose it all running cows, you know. But I've been doing a bunch of outreach, trying to, just because I think there's, you know, just the more of like these similar communities that we have, and like the more that we're all talking together and doing cool shit together, the less impact that bullshit up in like Portland and Chicago and whatever.
That's a beautiful place.
It used to be. San Francisco used to be one of the coolest cities on earth, you know? It's it's wild, but
you know that I don't know the exact number, but the white population, white Caucasian, you know, Americans in it is like in the teens, if like low teens, like 50+% is like Japanese American, and for some reason I looked that up. I googled it for some reason. It's like over 50% of the population in that area is of like Japanese descent.
Yeah,
so it's kind of crazy, right? But when you start thinking about it, it's like, that's not that crazy because of the immigration, the technology base, and their what's the word? Like their affluence. Affluence isn't the word, but their draw to that type of tech type area.
Well, and then they already had that like strong like base right there from, you know, when they came over and helped build the railroads. You know, they were
absolutely
they were always there.
Japanese,
so.
Pretty interesting. It's like we're a major minority in that part of the world.
It's weird, and well, it seems like people with reason are in a strong minority in that part of the world. It's weird, but you know, it's I think, you know, because like the media is going to focus on that type of shit, but like they call it the silent minority or majority for a reason, because like we don't make a fuss.
Right.
But I think if
you make a fuss when you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the difference between I'm not going to go deep on that one, but I think that's the difference between us and like a pure liberal. Like, they're gonna bark and pound their chest because they want to be heard. But we're like, I'm going to wait for when it absolutely is necessary and I need to be heard. And I need to be heard.
Like the silent minority or majority needs to have a little bit more of that liberal instinct to like bark when bark not quite at everything, but they need to have just a touch more Karen in them to like so it stops it in its tracks instead of where you have to like peel all the shit back way later. And that's kind of it's always been the problem of like the silent stoic type.
I agree. If somebody else is looking to take credit or whatever, I can give a damn about getting credit for something. Like if I know the truth, and I think that's what you'll find in the majority of special operations is they kind of covet that silent, that quiet professional. I won't say silent, Navy, but.
Anyway,
I joke. I love our sister units at that level, but
what did Clay
how many
call
more
them?
Books can we get?
What did Clay call them? The squeals.
The squeals. Yeah.
And like I said, I never served in the military. I
got to take a break and open one of these. Broken Skull IPAs from Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's not a paid sponsor, but if you'd like to pay me, I would gladly drink your beer.
Paid in beer.
Mm-hmm. This is really good, man. Yeah. I like it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, man. This is Jim's place here, and so this is one of the. I wanted to do this with Boots O'Neill, but Boots is like I said, he's 89 years old, and he doesn't he didn't want to do it in the first place.
Fangled technology.
I know. So I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible. And so I finally got to meet him in person, record the podcast. It was a really good conversation, and the audio was dog shit.
Well, hopefully the video's dog shit on this one. The audio's good.
Yeah. Well, the audio,
have a lot of light, but you can see it.
The audio is good here, and I've been monitoring. We're awesome here. So, yeah, I appreciate you doing it. It's funny is I've been meaning to, or been kind of halfway trying to get a hold of you. Like I said, not really trying to. I sent you a message on Instagram, but once you get so above a certain level on Instagram, those messages just get out of control.
They do to a point, and I do my best to answer them because I don't feel that I'm above answering questions. Like I had a cool career. And still do, but a job's a job. At the end of the day, the job didn't define me. I did it because I wanted to challenge myself. But it didn't. I guess it did define because I did special operations. I did make it to the top, but I don't think it should ever change your personality and add ego where ego's not necessary.
No, it's just like a closure almost.
But I did that, and in and out, like whatever you want to call it. I got to be there and I made it. But I don't I'm trying to grow my name in this area, but not based on that. Like as a firearms instructor, right? And a guy who's legit, not off of my past credentials. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You want people to know you're good at what you do because you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
Not because you were in the Army.
And he was that, right?
No, I made it as Delta Force because I'm good at what I do. I'm not good at what I do because of Delta Force. Right. I made it there because I'm good.
Yes, that's my hope. And so I've been still kind of under the radar in our area, and we're starting to pick up some steam and get noticed by guys like yourself in the law enforcement community. I'm starting to create some training for local law enforcement and getting asked to come to different states. I've got guys coming from other states to take my training. So I've got guys coming from Oregon, Utah, Florida, Texas. Like, to me, that's setting, I'm starting to reach that level of, okay, now, the name's legitimate. My training is legitimate beyond my name. Yeah. Because once you get here based on my name, you come out here with, damn, that was good training. It was quality training. Yeah. It all made sense. I put it in terms that made sense. You retain the information and it's relevant, right? You can produce with that, whether it's on a hunt or increasing your survivability and your lethality. Yeah. Right?
Hell yeah. So, all right. So you went in 1989. When did you get out?
December of 2000.
2000. Oh man,
so he made it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
On the Super Bowl team.
So, like, what was that moment like when
he's like, if I can't, I was like, motherfucker.
I was wondering because, like, there's been so many times like where I'd be like, I can't make it to that rodeo, and then the team that asked me to bid, like, they won like $3 grand. Right? I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it happened.
And the guy they replaced me with wasn't as good as me either. You're like, God damn it.
So I was in, I went in '89, got to the Ranger Battalion right after Panama invasion. Right after the Panama invasion. I do my time with the Ranger Battalion. I want to go to Alaska. So I leave in like, what was it, March or April of '94. They go to, I think it was Haiti. Mm-hmm. Like a month after I leave. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh, shit. They never had to get off the ship, but they deployed like, hey, we're going to go beat some ass. Like, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
So did you go? Because my biological dad went over Desert Storm in a medical unit. Did you do anything over there?
So what was that, like 91, right?
Yeah,
I think it was 91. So that was big Army type of combat, right? Yeah. So we special operations, and I'll say that lightly. The Ranger Battalion as an elite infantry unit wasn't necessarily needed where we needed more like tanks.
Yeah, because it was more of a conventional invasion.
Helicopters.
Yeah.
Right. Conventional type, hey, we're going to bow up. Yeah. And we're going to push across. And if we need to thump you, we will. Yeah. But we really didn't have to. Yeah. So we didn't, and there, I think some of like the unit, I'm sure, was over there. I mean, because those guys will push immediately. Yeah. And be used in a limited capacity. But the Ranger Battalion didn't necessarily deploy. There was a platoon, if I remember correctly, that went in and took out like a radar site. Like that was it. That was it. Like God damn it. Like, okay, I wasn't in that battalion. I was in a different battalion. Yeah. Right?
So like we suffered pretty much no casualties during the Persian Gulf.
No,
right?
I absolutely no disrespect, but I didn't look at that as the 91 gig as more of a war as, hey, dude, we're going to come here and beat your ass. You better get out. And they did, right? We went.
It was more of like a riot force, right?
But I know there's guys that went over there, and that was how do you say that? Their claim to fame.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, no, like I said, no disrespect. Our unit didn't go, but it didn't hold a candle to what the war on terror has done.
Like that so there's a guy, and I'm sure you know him. We won't mention any names, but he's a Navy vet, and like his claim to fame is that his unit got wiped out in Operation Desert Storm, and I was like,
in Desert Storm is that?
Yeah, and I was like, so unless that's like real classified, that didn't happen.
Nothing I heard of, and I'm not, like I said, I'll give the devil his due. Like, if it did, I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, and then so like,
where's your book?
Right. So like, I don't want to say it didn't happen, but like I said,
but I trust you, but I want to verify. Like, I'll show some proof on that.
I mean, we don't have to have like full, after action report, but like something.
Yeah, like I honestly haven't heard of anything from that time frame that was of that magnitude.
Yeah.
But
what was that?
Maybe it did, man. Maybe
what was that one movie that when they talked about the it was on Persian Gulf, and it was just like waiting, and it's so fucking
hurry up and
hot.
wait, dude. Yeah. Like that should have been like the motto of the military.
Yeah.
Hurry up. No, just wait, waiting on the word.
It's same thing on the cowboy crew too. It's the same goddamn thing. Be there at sunup. If you're not saddled up and ready to go by sunup, you're late. Right. So you get there 30 minutes later, and then by 9 o'clock, you're finally doing something. You're like, moving well, God damn it. Yeah, and it's as a day working cowboy, you're basically a mercenary. So like, you get there at 4:30 and you don't ride out till 9. You're like, well, fuck, I just wasted half my day. God damn it, man. Mm-hmm. We hopefully we're done by noon, so I can get a full day's worth. But.
Yeah, it's funny. My exposure to the cowboy side of things, when I met my wife, she's a cowgirl. Like she's rode, roped, pulled cows off mountains. Like she's done it all, right?
Yeah.
She's got a fantastic horse. Now we have 4.
Yeah.
But I met her. I said, I tell you right now, I'm not a cowboy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a cowboy. Like, I'll get on it.
Yeah.
And I'll learn, but I'm not a cowboy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fascinated with what they do, but I'm not that guy, right? I don't want to get on a bull. I won't fuck around with that. And we've been together 6 years now, and I've learned a lot. I can stay on a horse.
Yeah. There you go.
You're getting dumped on it. So I would say I'm decent.
Yeah.
But I'm not a cowboy.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, see,
I got a hat. I never wear it.
Yeah. See, and this is why I say like the cowboy community and the military community, like they mesh really well, because we appreciate that. Like, don't bullshit me. Don't tell me you can do something.
Like there's a name for it.
Like there's a certain level of fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you just got to be like, hey, man.
Yeah, it's gross. In your guys' community, it's grossly obvious when they don't know.
Yeah,
right?
well, and I'm sure it is
on the same on our side.
And
right?
so it's like at that point, it's like, no, I'm fine with you sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
Like, get on the fence, please.
What do they call it when you're branding and you gotta basically dump the cow so you can hold them down? Yeah, flanking, right?
Yeah,
and they let me go. So my first time flanking, right? I'm a big dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's goddamn cow. It's a calf, right?
Yeah, it's about 150 pounds.
Not these. They were about 300.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, yeah, you just reach over and you're going to hook this leg and you just pull up and knock them on their side. I'm like, all right. Like, I can do that. Like, I mad dog these suckers. Right? And there's like 80 of them. Mm-hmm. I got through about 30, 40 of them. My knees were freaking just throbbing, this and that. Like, that's a lot of effort. And they're big calves, right? They're not 150. They're big. They did it late, right? And these goddamn cowboys let me go about half the day. Yeah. And they're like, there's a better technique.
And that's exactly like I said. It's the same mentality. It's like,
we'll sit back and chuckle, watch you get your ass kicked.
Like, and then when it's almost done, it's almost done.
You just grab the tip. Well, we rope this leg, hit this leg, then you just pull the tip, boom, down. I'm like, son of a bitch.
You motherfuckers. Right? Yeah.
But I appreciated that I got a taste of the difficulty. And and they put me on some big freaking calves, and I was helping. I didn't get paid for it. I got some beer, so I'll take payment.
Yeah.
But it builds that respect.
Shout out,
and I think
Steve Austin.
Yeah,
I'll take
amen. But I think it builds that respect. I don't have to go put you in front of in a line of fire. I can put you through some drills. Yeah, that I might do in 20 seconds, and it takes you a minute. Right? Yeah, you're like, how the hell did you do that? Right, same thing. Yeah. in your community, and so. If you're interested in that type of stuff and wanting to learn, I teach it. Yeah. You can teach it. Yeah. That's the other beauty of it, is it's the willingness to share that knowledge. Yeah. It's not I'm better than you, you'll never be as good as me, and sit on the fucking fence. Yeah. Yeah. Like, come here, man. Let me show you.
So I'm guessing, say those old Vietnam era guys that you learned from.
That's why I joined, guys like that. Man.
Yeah. And so guys like for me, Boots O'Neill, or a guy from up in Winnemucca, Mackie Hedges, same thing. Like, they've been doing it forever, and they're willing to sit down and talk with a guy. You better learn. You better listen.
Yeah, pay attention. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and because
they're willing to give you the time.
And the cool thing is, now we've got better stuff, and we know more than they did back there. So not only can we take their level of commitment and pursuit to the craft, but we got all this new shit that we can do even better than them.
Absolutely.
And then you can look back at them can you imagine what those guys could do with what we have now?
Well, you look in the sniper community. You go back to I'm gonna draw a blank. I gotta show my ass here. You go back to Carlos Hathcock. He was running mediocre gear at best. Yeah, and slaying it. Who takes a single round 50 cal machine gun? Yeah, and loads a single round and hits a dude at $2,000 with iron sights, right? Yeah, there's a level of just ability, like talent, just embedded in your genes.
Yeah, like who's that Russian sniper from Stalingrad that they made a movie about?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't remember the name.
I don't remember either
because we did all the studies on all that stuff.
And, we're all America here. Fuck the Russians.
But we did studies on this stuff because you got to appreciate talent and skill set, right? And the craft, because it's not always about the shot. It's also about getting into that position, right? And your bushcraft and not getting caught or seen. Right? It might only be an 80-yard shot because you were able to get that close and not get caught or seen. Right? I really appreciate that side of stuff. Like when you can go in and dominate a space because you're so freaking sneaky. And you're dropping people. Like,
that's so cool.
But
that's like, well,
we're talking about killing people, but that was the deal, and why I found it so fascinating as opposed to being a submariner or a tanker or a pilot. Like, I really was fascinated with that aspect of it, and then growing up here in the mountains, like hunting. I didn't do a lot of hunting growing up. I had a wildlife biologist for a mom and a hippie for a dad. But I was fascinated with that side of it. Right?
So did you grow up around here?
Mammoth June Lake. So 2.5 hours down the road.
Hell yeah.
Graduated. You know where Lee Vining is?
I know of it. You
drive right through it.
See,
you blink your eye, you're done. 300 people in that town. That was actually where the high school was.
Nice.
And like three towns went to the one high school.
I grew up in Colorado, and my experience in California is Bridgeport and San Francisco. That's
if you hit Bridgeport, go another 20 miles down Conway and Mono Lake, Levi, right there. Yeah.
Nice. I know where it's at. I've just never been over there. And of course, growing up in Colorado, we're just like, California.
So born and raised in California, but I don't go. I can't go back. I'll never go. I'm pretty much an outlaw there.
I feel bad for all the good folks over in California anymore, because being close as we are now, most of the ranchers in Smith Valley, they ranch on both sides of the border, and it's like, there's a lot of good people in California. It's just like every other state. It's these little pockets that control everything.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I think the tide's changing a little bit.
I think at some point people will become very aware of reality, right? Like,
well, exactly.
They voted this way. It will show its ass at some time. At some point, right? It's going to show its ass.
At some point, you can't suspend reality, suspend disbelief for only so long.
The promises and the shallow promises, or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
It's
well, and this woke stuff, it just it keeps reaching another level, and it's like at some point you got to be like, no, this is not reality. I've been at it for a long time, but you see more and more people just like, all right.
Yeah, how many tyrannical things can you say before somebody's like, this dude's like batshit?
Well, you have the Surgeon General saying that no, we need Facebook to step up their algorithm on vaccine misinformation. You're just like, why is the Surgeon General telling social media companies what? Maybe you should just have better information. That would be better.
And you can put that on national television. Oh shit, they're all biased too. Well, most of us. It's finding somebody who's not getting paid or a handout. It's hard these days. We're all working for a purpose, but
I was just like, man.
Sometimes you're just like, man.
At some point, do we not remember integrity at all? There's not anything in the back of your mind that just maybe I shouldn't say that.
Morals are gone.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's morals and ethics.
It's weird.
Delicate balance.
Well, it's I can make that shot, but should I make that shot? And I'm you're in the perfect spot. So what's the longest shot you've ever made?
Oh, hey there. Hi. Is this a bad time? Well, I'm sorry. I got some sponsors that help me keep this thing going every week, so I got to tell you about them right now. And you heard a little bit about Stetson Ranches at the top of the show, but let me tell you a little bit more about them. Like I said before, they're a multi-generational ranch family. I believe 5th generation, but they're looking to make that 5, 6, 8 generations more. and build something into just a legacy type place that's going to be around forever, be profitable and sustainable. And they focus on the two things that matter in any good ranch. That's cattle and horses. Tina has selected some really, really top quality brood mares with bloodlines going back to Zanpar Bar, Two-Eyed Jack, Peppy Sand Badger, Doc Bar, just some really good, proven foundation quarter horse bloodlines. On top of that, they've got a full crop coming up this next spring, all sired by a King Ranch stud who is just legit. And these colts are going to be big, shapy, athletic, have a great mind to them, and ready to go any direction you want to go. If you'd like to see more of that, go to StetsonRanches.com. And also, they have a direct-to-consumer, pasture-to-plate, ranch-raised beef program. They're running registered Black Angus cows. They're covering them with registered Hereford bulls. And the calf that they produce is going to be an F1 Black Baldy, and that's going to hit the ground running. They're going to take to feed, and they're going to marble like crazy. And they're all going to grade USDA Prime, and it's going to be delivered to your doorstep. Packages all the way up to a full beef if you'd like. You have to contact them for pricing on that. You can do an eighth or a quarter for about $6.95 a pound. And the main thing they really like to do here is they have a monthly subscription box, and it comes with about anywhere from 8 to 11 pounds of beef. And this bundle will include the ground beef, hamburger, stew meat, roasts, and also some various cuts of steak. I think my cousin got a brisket the other day. And it's a great deal. It's $100 a month. Use my promo code MOVEYOURASS, MOVEYOURASS. You get 20% off your first month. Make sure you go check them out, StetsonBeef.com, to order the beef. And go follow them on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Stetson Beef. And you won't be disappointed. Next up, we got a lady horse trainer, Thunderbird Equine LLC. Taking clients. She's out of Sandia Park, New Mexico, kind of in the Albuquerque area. And Jessica Pancost is her name. She's focusing on vaquero-style horsemanship for your colt, your horse, or your mule. Yeah, she'll even work with mules. And I don't know if that means she's incredibly stubborn or has a death wish, or is she just really, really good with mules? I don't know. But if you got a mule and you'd like some work done on it, take them on over. She knows what she's doing. Everything that she takes in requires a 60-day minimum. Colts, they can expect a quiet, confident, and respectful colt with all the right tools to move on to any discipline of your choice. The older horses that are in for, and mules that are in for finishing, they can be expected to develop a harder stop, collected frame, and precise movement through leg cues. They will develop the confidence to do anything you'd like under saddle, whether it be mounted shooting, roping, trail riding, or cattle work. And she also, as I said before, she's maybe I did say before, but she's a second-generation trainer. She's a third-generation rancher. And while they're in the program, they're going to gain a whole bunch of roping experience as well, heading, heeling, breakaway, and various aspects of ranch roping. And at the end of the program, you'll receive 5 free lessons to reacquaint yourself with your new equine partner. So if you got any questions or you got some horses that need worked on, give her a call, 720-205-2996, or shoot her a message on Facebook or Instagram, Thunderbird Equine. And last but not least, we got Cardomax. Cardomax.com is a supplement company owned and operated by former Navy SEAL Sean Madsen. Really great stuff. They got a recovery. They got an energy booster, which is kind of like a pre-workout or just a caffeine drink. If you're into energy drinks, try this instead. It comes in a little, it's about the size of a ketchup packet, just liquid. And you just pour it in about 20 ounces of water. Tastes great. They also have, my favorite is the immunity booster. As you know, with the whole pandemic, air quotes, and anyhow, one of the big things that really didn't get highlighted through this whole thing is how to take care of your immune system. Well, this stuff has this compound called adaptogens, which helps work on toxins, and it's got a whole bunch of other all natural ingredients. It's all sugar free, and it's really good tasting stuff. And I use it all the time. I really do. And I heard about it on several other podcasts, and I tried it myself, and it's a good thing if you're not one to just drink straight water. This is a good product to have on hand because, it's all sugar free, and it helps you stay hydrated without giving you diabetes. Never a good thing. But anyway, head over to cardomax.com. and use the promo code MoveYourAss for 10% off. And go check them out. Try some of this stuff. I think you'll really like it. And it's a good company, great people, all veteran owned and operated. Cardomax.com, promo code MoveYourAss. And if you'd like to not be listen to these ads anymore in the middle of the show, you can head over to patreon.com/burning-daylight. And you can sign up there to be a monthly supporter of the show. We do a bunch of giveaways. I'm still working on something for the month of July. But we just gave away a custom snaffle bit made by Matt Wilson. He'll be coming back to do some work with us again. I need to check in with Ryan Erickson, but he was interested in doing some stuff as well. So we've got some cool gifts that we're giving away. 100% of the money right now that I make off of Patreon goes back to buy prizes for giveaways. So if you'd like to be a part of that, the more people we have signed up, the cooler shit that I can give away. So go check it out. Patreon.com/burning-daylight. Sign up at whatever level you like. You get more perks the higher the level you sign up at. So go check that out and go check out these sponsors. Make sure you told them you heard about it on Burning Daylight. And let's get back into the show.
2,000 yards.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the farthest I've pushed where we could get the distance, had the right equipment to do it. 2,000 yards is my longest actual impact shot. Yeah.
So that's over a mile. 1760
is a mile. We push that. We run a mile on our training where we're out there in Smith Valley. If you have the right gear, right, you're not going to take a 308 and expect a first round hit at a mile.
Yeah,
and nobody really expects a first round hit at a mile. If you're in the first 3 rounds, like you're kicking ass.
Yeah.
So 2,000 yards is quite a poke. It's amazing how much can happen in those 300 yards, right? Like when you're talking ballistics and the drop rates and going transonic, depending on where that happened, and instability of the bullet. But crazy enough, the day we did it, it was a buddy of mine, my buddy Ted and I, we were up on this mountainside, had a big old, I think it was like a 30-inch plate at 2,000 yards, and he had a 408 Shytac, right? Which is pretty phenomenal rifle. It's impressive. It's
I've never shot one.
Gun.
I've heard of it. I don't.
Monolithic bullet, the highest BCs out there. And we're looking at the winds, trying to figure out the atmospherics. At that distance, we're also considering Coriolis effect, which is rotation of the earth, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, I don't know, man. Like 5 minutes we're debating. Wind's going one way at one distance, wind's going the other at this. I'm like, you know what? Aim center mass, pull the trigger, man. Let's get an impact somewhere, like see if we can find it, and then we can adjust from that. I'll be damned if that dude didn't hit dead nut center, almost mathematically dead nut center of the plate.
No shit.
So the winds pushed it one way, and then the winds picked it up, brought it right back, boom, center mass. I'm like, no way, dudes. They Sharpied that because we had 2 buddies down there watching. So far, we had to drive somebody down there, watch, offset, and then call the hits.
Yeah.
So he was 50%, 2 out of 4 hits at $2,000. It took me a little bit, but I had a different rifle, a 375 Shytac, and my math was wrong on the projectiles. They were moving about 400 feet per second slower than I thought, and we were like 120 yards short. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Figured out that the bullet wasn't flying as fast as we thought it was.
Yeah.
Boom, hit.
Nice.
Once we figured it out, hit. So I was pretty happy about that.
A 2,000 round hit is just like a really fast sailboat because you're just like,
yeah, it's moving around. It's because you can get.
If you're a seal, you would have got that joke.
You got a lot of different stuff going out in there. We talk about it in my classes, like even at I say a mile shot, 1,760 yards. I'm like, all right, dude. You see the target, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you think your wind hold is? He's like, well, and I was like, where are you looking? It's like, about 2/3 of the way to the target. This thing. I'm like, all right, that works, right? What do you think it is? Like, what do you see? Mirage, blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay, that. And I'm like, all right, let's consider this. That bullet is about 140 feet over your head. At its highest trajectory. You're not looking up into the atmosphere, like up at 140 feet and going, I'm going to call wind up there, right? You're looking at the ground and the environmentals are there to try to get a guess at what you think it is, right? So when you start considering that, like the bullet is that high above you and what's going on up there is not what you're seeing down here, most likely. Probability of first round hits really start to drop. But you get a quick appreciation of that when we start to put that picture together for them, right? And they're like, holy crap. Man. And then when they hit, they're like, how did we ever pull that off? There's so many reasons we shouldn't. We should not make this shot, and we do.
How did that happen?
Yeah. And we just awesome. Did. Like, they're pretty stoked about it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. All right, so you were like basically 100% peacetime military then.
99%. So I went over to the Balkans in 97 during the Balkan War.
Okay.
But my job over there was doing protection for the 4-star general. So one of the subtasks of the unit I was in was providing protection for 4-star generals in high threat environments. So when we'd rotate that over, between us and Dev Group. So I was over there during that, right? And pretty neat place. But it's one of those things like, damn it, like 89 to 2000, Panama, Desert Storm. I was in military free fall school when remember the hostage thing down in Peru. I think it was Peru.
The
embassy thing, and I'm like, that's our jam right there. Like, we're going right. They let the Americans go. I'm like, it's like, damn it. And then I get out in December 2000. 9/11 happens in 2001. I went back to Bosnia in February of 2001. So I got back into, I went into protection work, right? So I was getting into these high threat areas as a protection specialist. I wasn't kicking doors. And then when 9/11 kicked off, I spent like 2 more years in the Balkans working for this ambassador I had a great relationship with, and he's like, I don't want you going over there. I want you to stay here with me. And then finally about late 2003, like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go get my toe in the water. Right. So I spent about a year and a half over in Iraq, and then went to Israel for a year doing protection work. Went to Afghanistan for about a year, and then decided to call it quits at that time.
So the shit that you saw was not even for the military,
right? So I did all this high speed shit, right? But in all reality, I was over there as a contractor, right? I still got in the shit. I just wasn't getting kicked doors. I was getting shot at, mortared, blown up, rocketed, like all this shit. But I wasn't doing the job I trained for a decade, over a decade, 12 years.
You were doing it as, and don't take it the wrong way, but you're doing it as a mercenary at this point.
It's a new name for it. It's called contractor.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the mercs of the 60s and 70s, right?
Merc is what they call them.
Merc technically means we're hired by another government. Though. We're working for our own government.
Well, all right. So, speaking of which, what do you think about Haiti?
In what aspect?
This recent assassination, because now they're talking.
You're gonna have to enlighten me, because I don't even watch TV.
Oh shit! Oh,
I didn't know there was an assassination.
Oh man! All right, we got some shit to dig into here. All right, so the president of Haiti was assassinated.
How long ago?
Less than 2 weeks.
No way. Was it? So Papa Doc was the tyrant of the day.
Yeah. So this guy was
this kid.
That was Baby Doc.
Baby Doc, yeah. And now there was a guy just after that.
It was Jovenel Moise. Is his name.
Was he the singer or the
I'm not for sure. I'm
like
not for
artist.
sure. What's funny is because you know a little bit about Haiti, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got a little brother that we adopted from Haiti, and I've got a nephew, also both from Port-au-Prince, out of an orphanage. So I know just enough to get me in trouble about Haiti.
Same here.
And
I got an opportunity to go there once.
Yeah.
So.
I've never been there, but like my mom was there, my sister was there, and I've got two family members like they grew up in it, but they left before they were, I think my brother was 10 when he came over, and Moise was like 5. So
you remember the big earthquake that crashed?
Yeah.
I got there like a week after that earthquake. I figured out a way to get in there and check it out. Right.
Oh, so you saw the shittiest country on earth.
Yeah, and
after
I saw the hierarchies,
worst.
and so the guy I went with as my translator, if you will, was from there, but he was of the higher level. So basically, from my understanding, like if you're more white in that area, you're more of the affluent types. You have the nicer. Because those are beautiful areas. The further you go up the mountain, it's not a flat. As you know, it's not a flat island, right? It's
like Hawaii.
Yeah. You're going into the Dominican Republic on the other side, like beautiful beaches, this and then you come over and it's like deforested and this and that. But the more affluent guys live further out of off Port-au-Prince, up in. Anyway, so we stayed with this guy's family and. They had like security on the house and all that right after the earthquake. And I'm like, holy crap. And then you go 2 miles down and I'm driving with him and it looks like what would be the word? Like right after like a catastrophic event, right? That's like next gen.
Oh, so when Mount St. Helens erupted.
Yeah, like there's still like buildings smoldering and smoke
like
coming out.
You remember like just seeing like the smoldering trees on the side of Mount Rainier
really
or wherever?
Kind of, surreal, right?
Yeah.
And I'm all about it. He's like, we shouldn't be down here, and like it was getting dark. I'm like, hell yeah, we should. Like, this is when it's good. He's all sketched out. I'm like, we're
going to Middle Earth now.
Yeah. And I'm like, I've got guns and stuff, and I'm like, this is what I'm after. I wanted that essence or that feeling of that sense of, is it dangerous or not? But like during the day, you have like tens of thousands of families living or have been their lives destroyed and they're living on the side of the street, for lack of a better term. And like blankets and sheets on there so they're not burning their feet, and they're like, that's your house now, that 8x8 sheet of cloth, because their house crumbled. And they were, it was pretty surreal. And man, I tell you what, then you look like 20 minutes later, you drive down, there's still a kid trying to pedal like a yo-yo or something. Like these guys are like the ultimate entrepreneurs. Like there's this catastrophic event, there's people living on the street, and dude's just trying to show you a yo-yo at a stoplight.
So
that wasn't working.
my little brother that we adopted from Vietnam, he his mother died in childbirth with him, and his dad remarried, but his stepmother hated him or whatever, and so like she beat him all the time. So at like age, I think he was like 7 or 8, he just moved out. He left.
I'm out, deuces.
He left this little hamlet and moved to Nha Trang, which was one of the bigger cities in South Vietnam, and he just lived on the streets. He figured out, and of course, living on the streets in South Vietnam is a little different than living on the streets in Anchorage,
survival
Alaska.
Instinct's got to be high, right?
Yeah.
And just like I said, at that age, trying to figure it out. I mean, it's like I believe that at some level, it's just ingrained, right? That survival instinct. Some people just don't have it, man. They just don't have it.
Right.
And they live in the areas they do because that's how they feel.
Those are the people
sad,
like when something like really crazy happens, instead of reacting, they just go like this.
Oh, they give up. I remember I was at a pub in Portland, Oregon. Go figure.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to I'm with a buddy of mine. And this lady's sitting next to us, and she's like, "Oh, so what do you guys do?" We start talking guns, and she's just like completely offended immediately and all this.
Of course.
I'm like, "Well, we're just trying to help people like be able to defend themselves and their loved ones and that shit." I'm like, "Wouldn't you like if they came to that moment, like would you not defend yourself and protect your kid or something if you had a kid?" She's like, "No." I couldn't do it. I wouldn't kill somebody. I'm like, well, then you're a victim. You're dead. Right?
Yeah.
You and your kid.
Yeah,
but there's that's you. That's how you are. Not your stepbrother or the kid that at 8 years old living on the street of Vietnam.
Yeah.
He's that's not him.
No. He's
going
live.
all in. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to live.
Yeah.
Then there's that sheep, right? She's willing to just die because she's not willing to defend herself. Well, that's your cannon fodder.
You're dead,
man.
and in the words of Stalin, you're a statistic at that point.
Yeah, absolute statistic, right?
So anyway, back to Haiti. So there was 28 armed gunmen that stormed the presidential mansion or whatever, and they shot the president 12 times, killed him, wounded his wife, and then
sorry, the corgs are playing at the same time.
It's all right. And then like they've got the whole thing on camera, like when they stormed the mansion or whatever, and they say this is a DEA operation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they're like,
I was gonna say, what are these 28 gunmen? Were they part of his like presidential security? How did they get access?
So 2 of them are Haitian American. Stop. Something like, I can't remember if it was, I think it was 14 of them are Colombian. None of them were actually like full-fledged Haitian. Like
I gotta look this one up.
Yeah,
because that's the stuff I used to research.
The 2 that have Haitian origins are also American citizens, and they're also either FBI or DEA informants. It's a weird deal, dude. It's a real weird deal. And I don't.
Interesting. Last couple weeks.
It's one of those things where you're just like, what happened to plausible deniability?
Well, and crazy enough, like assassinations at that level these days, it's pretty far and few between.
Right.
They happen. I mean, so there's when I was in that protection arena, like they have an encyclopedia of assassinations.
Yeah.
Right? There's an actual book out, right? Well, to me, that's homework. Like, I want to read this stuff because I want to be able to identify something like that and be like, hey, this is a potential, we need to be moving, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so if they're committed to the point where they're willing to die for it, you're not stopping it. Period,
no.
Right. But you're talking 28 dudes. That's an organized hit. Like, that's not a dude that just has a vendetta and is going to walk up out of the middle of nowhere and smoke you. Right.
So I was listening to a guy who's former military, he's 82nd Airborne. And he's like, that's not a truly professional hit. He's like, that's somebody that's got some money. But that's like
a coup attempt or something like that.
Yeah, but that's like Afghan special forces. that's not like real professional.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the end state, right? Like, what did these 28 people have to gain?
Yeah.
Were they paid for it, or is one of them being looked to be put into that position?
Yeah.
Or they just truly hated this guy and his family?
Well, seeing that,
but like I said, most of the time when it's something like that, or it's a personal grudge, it's usually one dude. It's like one person, right? That look, if you go back in history, like Philippines or even in the United States, there's that one person, and they haven't told anybody, so you're never going to figure them out.
Yeah,
they just had time and place. They got the opportunity. Boom, make the shot. If I die, I die.
Yeah,
28. That's organized, planned, probably rehearsed, with an agenda.
All right. So
who else is coming into power and why? Right?
So let's get deeper into it, because this is a cool one too. The guy that they've arrested as like the head of the gang is also
could be a gang.
Or
I want the
like,
rice. I want the rice.
He's the head of the snake, so to speak, and he is a doctor from Florida, also Haitian American, and was planning on assuming power once. And it's really weird because
it's a coup then.
Yeah, well, kinda. So this guy the election happened in 2015, and they have a 5-year term.
Okay.
But he never actually took office because he didn't actually get a majority. He got a plurality. And after all the recounts and everything came out, like he still only had like 33%, but he was the highest percentage guy. And he took power in 2016, and it's a 5-year term. And so when 2020 happened, they're like, "Oh, you're out of office." He's like, "No, I haven't served 5 years yet." So it's like,
I got one more.
yeah. So you're like, well, is he right or is he not right? I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. So it's like, he's kind of got a point. I don't know how that all works.
How did his last 5 years go as far as serving? Like, was he like for the people? Was he tyrannical? Like, did he think you need a fucking F-15 to take it? Wait. Did I say that?
Yeah, right. I think he probably was like every other Haitian president ever. So, like, yeah, he was ready to do whatever.
I'm staying here.
Yeah.
I like this house.
So, like, there's a good chance that somebody within the country organized this. Like, it's not. I mean, it is Haiti.
Yeah, 28 people, man. That's
yeah. But then you you start finding all these like FBI and DEA connections. You're like, can we just figure out what we're doing here and leave everything else alone? God damn it, guys. You know,
it's like, Haiti, man.
Yeah,
like, there is no political advantage to it.
Look, they have nothing.
It's a cool island. Like I said, you split with Dominican Republic. I mean, dude, if they could just flip the coin a little bit, that could be a tourist destination.
It'd be like
point,
the new Jamaica,
man.
Yeah,
tourist destination point. Man, they can't get out of their own way. Sadly,
yeah, since 1700 and something. Island, yeah,
stunning, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys keep fucking this up?
Yeah, like you guys have rape and devastation over here,
almost,
and you have beaches and baseball players over here. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? God damn it!
Same rock.
You have the same genetics.
Yeah, it's the same fucking rock.
Same genetics.
It's not even a big one.
Different language, and boy, apparently French fucks it up. Whatever. All right.
Stone Cold.
Yes,
Getting
sir.
one more in on this.
Sounds good.
You can see it, but there it is.
All right. Well, let's go more specifically gun nerd talk, because I
like that.
I'm not a gun nerd, but I'm always willing to learn more.
I'm not technically a gun nerd to the point of understanding like gunsmithy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for example, when I got my sniper rifle in the Ranger Battalion, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. This is handed to me like by God, right?
Yeah.
It's a 308 sniper rifle. God knows how many snipers before me had it, right? It's
Remington
the barrel shot
700.
out. Yeah, Remington 700 action, bull barrel, 24-inch, blah, blah, blah. I knew every detail statistic of it, but I didn't understand barrel twist, muzzle velocities, the stuff I have now researched, educated on, and well, you know, the advent of modern sniping as brought to us by like Todd Hodnett, where he's like, hey, we can reverse engineer a shot mathematically. Say what? Like, that's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
We did it through trial and error and shot after shot. Well, dope, right? Data on previous engagement. Shoot, write that shit down.
Yeah.
They don't have to do that. Like, I can figure this out with a few shots.
Yeah.
Reverse engineer the shot, like game-changing stuff, man. So we've come so far from my days of the field craft of it and the embedded talent, if you will, and understanding a mil dot reticle and how to break that into tenths and all this other stuff, to where in 20 minutes I can have you banging steel at 1,000 yards.
Fucking A.
You know how long it took me to do that as a gangster ass sniper in the Rangers? It took a bit, right?
Yeah.
It took a bit because our rifles, for one, basically started falling out at 800. So if you're banging steel or shots at 800 to 1,000, you knew your shit, and you had a good gun, right?
Yeah.
Some of those guns, man, you've been on the barrel wear, this and that. Stuff started falling out of the air. 308 ballistically becomes unstable, just right around 800 yards, without giving you an exact number. So what do you think the probability of first round hit at 1,000 is on that? It's in the low 20 percentile.
Yeah.
Boom, 6.5 Creedmoor pops up. We're in the high 80s, mid 80s. Let's say mid 80 percentile. Yeah. If I'm in Vegas, which one do you take?
No, yeah, right.
Oh, take the Creedmoor. It's a smaller bullet, higher ballistics, first round hit probability, still killing shit. Like,
yeah. So, and I think I would be considered in the gun world. I don't know if I'm like fully in the FUD category, but like I'm I'm pretty solidly in the FUD community just because I just like old shit, and then like I like but I also, huge caveat, I never had anybody shooting at me, or I never had to like look over anybody shooting at somebody that I love.
Right.
So all I'm doing is shooting coyotes and deer, basically.
Goddamn coyotes.
Yeah, so like
bane of my existence, man.
Yeah, so a Savage 308 is fine for me,
Right, and I look at a Savage 308, I'm like, it's an entry level gun. It's not a bad gun.
And you're just like,
but I'm not going to buy that. But there's a reason, right? Yeah, but there's a reason. After this, I'll show you a couple of my rifles. Purpose built.
Yeah,
it's like
right.
Purpose built, and I spend money on that because I'm decreasing the variables, right?
Yeah.
And if I know I got a lights out gun,
yeah,
that's one variable I'm not worried about.
Yeah.
So I got rid of that. Now I know it's either me or the bullet.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now we start doing hand loads and building the bullet to that gun. That's gone.
Yeah.
Now if I'm missing, it's me.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
Or maybe the scope. Right.
Yeah.
So as you start to reduce those variables, probabilities go up.
Yeah.
And that's the game, man. But the beauty of hunting, shooting altogether is, do you need a $10,000 sniper rifle? Absolutely not. You don't. But you got to understand the probability of first round hit for that gun, your ability. Yeah. And when you understand that and manage it, it goes up because now I know, hey, 450 yard shot with this gun is not, the probability is not there. Or hey, I got a $10,000 sniper rifle. I just humped up the side of a mountain chasing an elk at 8,000 feet, and I'm doing about 160 beats a minute, and I'm a standing shot.
Yeah.
There's a fucking way I'm making a 600-yard shot, 600-yard shot, right?
Yeah.
120 yards becomes 120 yards is a hard shot, right?
Yeah.
So there's factors, and it's just understanding that. And that's what I really dig about this stuff is I don't have to know barrel break-in or how to tear it apart and like this is that. Like I'm not a gunsmith, right?
Yeah.
But I am a student of the gun. I focus my energy on I guess the external parts, you can say, like, hey man, take this pistol apart. Hey, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Hey, can you fix this? Nah, probably not. I'm gonna show you how to shoot it better. Does that make sense? So I don't geek to the point of the engineering, I guess you could say, but I geek on the side of all the information I can gather to increase my probability of first round hit. Yeah. And then we can do it through math. And I sucked at math in high school, which is crazy. Like, I don't need this shit. I need dollars.
Yeah.
What I get in the military, like sniping, right? Math. Military free fall jump master. Like, it's math. Like, you're going to throw somebody out of the back of a plane, you better know, forward drift, not drift. I mean, your forward thrust coming back, rate descent, had a couple beers now, but I'm going this many feet forward for this many feet down, right? I go 3 feet forward for every foot I go down, or 5 feet forward for every foot. I need to know that when I exit the plane. And if my plane's doing 140 knots this way, when I go out the back of that plane, how far am I getting slung this direction before I actually start to fall? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's all math, right? We're doing the same thing with bullets. Todd Hodnett has done a fantastic job of simplifying it so that guys like me can crack the code on it, share that information, that knowledge with cowboys, kids, women, so they can have a great time shooting, increase their probability. When you're actually hitting shit, the fun meter starts pegging.
Oh yeah, right.
When you're missing, it just pisses you off.
Well, right? Especially like you're just target shooting, you hear that
ding.
Yeah, like that's awesome. That's one of the coolest things.
Yeah, and then so when we apply that with my training, say as it applies to hunting, bring your gun and you're like, okay, about this time I'm starting to fall off. Yeah, right? That's your max limit right there. So now when you're using modern technology, rangefinder, and you see that trophy bull, you range it and it's like, that's well within my your confidence goes up. You're not as panicked, right? Yeah, and you make it a more accurate, more ethical shot. Yeah, or you're like, my ass needs to crawl I need to start crawling. I need to get closer, right? Based on what you have and your probability of first round hits. That's the game, right? And if it's not a first round hit, it's a fast follow up.
Yeah.
But if you never see the first round hit because your position's bad, the recoil's bad because you're not managing it, so then what is your call?
Yeah.
So we teach that too, and how we build that position so that we can catch that impact based on being on the gun correctly. So like you said, it's just a simple thing. No, it's not. We make it simple, but there's so many little pieces that go into it. That's where I get I get fascinated with all these minutia, these little mechanics, right? Let's talk pistols. Let's just dump into that. 7 fundamentals of shooting, right? Stance, grip, sight picture, sight alignment, trigger control, breathing, follow through. Like, okay, well, define stance as applies to shooting. I don't know. Like, I stand there and I'm stable.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay. Well, what does a stance need to do for you? It needs to do certain things. Manage recoil. Give me stability. Allow me range of motion and mobility. Without diving into it, right? But if you never took the time to dissect what that has to do for you, the mechanics of that fundamental.
Yeah.
How do you know where to refine and enhance to make it better?
Right.
Same thing with long range. So when I get into the pistol craft, which is much easier to miss at close distance and what you're probably going to have on any given day, right? Quality of the gun, understanding the fundamentals, how to apply those fundamentals under stress. But if you don't understand the fundamentals, which is what's separate, it's fundamentals and fundamentals, whether you're a grandmaster shooter or beginner. Yeah. There's only 7. You got to do them. How do we do them? How do we dissect those fundamentals? Blow out the mechanics of it, like, it's like that blowout picture of a gun, like when you take it apart and lays it all out, there's a picture of it, and then you put it all back together. You do the same thing with the fundamentals and the mechanics of it, and then we go into like the critical tasks beyond those or techniques, but the fundamentals are, that's it.
They're the same.
How do we do them
every time?
How do we do them? Yeah, right? And how do we dissect them to a point that I can create a repeatable process under stress? Well, if I can break those down and dissect the presentation to target or getting the gun in the fight, now you have wickets that you can identify an inefficiency or deficiency and say, okay, here I'm not getting the muzzle up quick enough, this or that. Otherwise, you just get the gun out. I pointed at the target. Well, how did you do that? Pretty much across the board on any shooting, shotgun, rifle, pistol, we're trying to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
Stop. So that's where I geek. Not actually on the gunsmithing side, but I geek on that stuff to increase my survivability and lethality, and then teach that to other people. Stop.
Hell yeah. Well, you got about what do we got? Let's finish this if you're up for it.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, we'll end this for my regular session. I got a Patreon only, and we'll just talk strictly your favorite guns.
All right.
So, if you wouldn't mind, my tagline is "Move your ass, we're burning daylight." So, if you'll sign us off.
All right. Move your ass, we're burning daylight.
Bam.